Welcome, Prime Lending. My name is Chef Susan Fornek. I'm the executive chef here in Team Building with Taste. Today, you are going to do an eCuisine virtual cooking challenge with me. We're going to do our inviting Italian menu today. We're going to do a little tomato basil bruschetta. We're going to do a chicken milanese, and we're going to do some pasta with vodka sauce. Yes, we're cooking with vodka, okay? So you're going to have 1 hour to make this menu that I just described to you. And then also you are going to take pictures of what you did, because that's how you're going to be judged, just like we do here. You're going to be judged on the best looking bruschetta plate and how creative you are, and your best overall plating too. So now we have the criteria, we have the menu, so let's start cooking. But first, nobody can cook without a glass of wine. You can cook, you can drink while you're cooking or after, but anyway. So what I have here is a nice Sauvignon Blanc, nice, crisp, very citrusy, which will pair nicely because we are going to have lemon in our chicken milanese. I would also recommend an unoaked Chardonnay if you're a white drinker. If you are red drinkers, Sangiovese is a good one, light body, Barbera, which is Italy's version of a Pinot Noir, which I think is probably the most drinkable wine. It pairs with most everything. You can do Chianti Classico if you like those. And you can also just do an American Pinot Noir. Washington has some of the best Pinot Noirs that they're making right now. So we have wine. Let's start cooking. First up, we are going to make tomato basil bruschetta. So the beauty of bruschetta is that it's a blank canvas. So once I'm done showing you the traditional one, I'll show you a couple of options too. So important, get a nice loaf of, get a nice baguette of French bread or Italian bread. The bread is your vehicle. It's like pizza. You can put anything you want to on it, but you have to make sure the crust is rolled properly and that your bread is sliced properly. So you want it about 1/4 inch thick here. So you can be fancy, slice it on the bias like this. Just want to go ahead and knock that out really quick. Sharp knife, very important. I can do just about anything in my kitchen with a really, really nice sharp chef's knife. If you want to use a bread knife, it's totally up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. Just make sure you are comfortable when you're slicing. We're going to lay it out here on a paper-lined baking sheet. We'll get a couple more there. Okay. You can brush it with regular olive oil. I've got some roasted garlic olive oil here that I can just brush on there lightly. And then you're going to toast it in the oven for about 8 minutes. You want nice crispy bread because you're going to be throwing all these relatively wet ingredients on there, okay? So we are nice and brushed. Pop that in the oven. So while it's baking, you are going to do your prep for your toppings. So I've got some beautiful tomatoes here. Nice little heirloom tomatoes. Those are probably the ones that really taste like tomatoes right now. So you're just going to do sort of a nice small dice on it. If you want it chunkier, you can do chunkier. That's totally up to you. Okay. We'll get a couple of these chopped up for an example. So, there we go. Into our bowl. Make sure, I'm going to throw a fancy French term at you. It's called mise en place. Literal translation is everything in its place. So make sure after you're done shopping, lay out all your ingredients and make sure that you have everything ready to go. Because once you really start cooking, you don't want to have to run back and forth to the fridge or to the stove or whatever. Okay, so we've got a nice little start there. Garlic, because everyone loves garlic. Best way to do garlic, unless of course you have a garlic press at home, but that's totally up to you. Take your knife, flat hand, you're just going to smash that knife down there, okay? And then just come in and you're just going to mince it nice and small. You don't want big chunks of garlic in your bruschetta. You can rock it like this, or once again, you can use a garlic press if you'd like, if you have one of those at home. So now we have some nice small chopped garlic here. Into our bowl. We'll grab our fresh basil here. I'm sure you've seen this on TV, where you stack your beautiful basil leaves right here, and you just kind of stack them up, and you just kind of roll them up. And we're going to do something, let me move this out of the way here. We're going to do something called a chiffonade. So it's a very, very tight julienne. And as long as your fingers are turned under, you can use your fingers as your guide. And the one thing I like to tell people is that you move the knife, not the food. So now we have this beautiful chiffonade of basil right here. Okay. And we have the start of our bruschetta. A little bit of olive oil in there, pinch of pepper, pinch of salt, give it a little stir there, and then when your bread comes out of the oven, you're going to top it. All right, bread is all nice and toasted, so we're going to plate up our beautiful bruschetta here. So we'll take a little bit, let your bread cool a little bit, it's going to be toasty. Chop it a little bit. Okay. And then you're just going to put it on a pretty plate or a platter for the family, and then just start snacking. Okay, so this is why we toast the bread. As you can see, this is a pretty moist topping here. So, pretty plate right there, yum, I want to eat that. So let me show you some other options now of what you can do. Once again, this is a blank canvas, okay? Okay, so here is the tomato basil bruschetta that we just made, all right? Other options are a lovely olive tapenade, which is ground up olives, capers, garlics, herbs and stuff like that, which you can also do to fancy it up a little bit. You can grab a little truffle oil and just do a little drizzle on there like that. Be careful, a little truffle oil goes a long way. Now we have our classic caprese, hunks of basil, sliced tomatoes, sliced fresh mozzarella. That, to fancy it up, you can just go ahead and do a nice balsamic glaze on there. That's pretty for your plating right there. And then last, we have prosciutto and melon. So that is best friends right there. They love this. Throw a little fresh basil on there, a little fresh arugula on there if you want to, but if you're a big fan of melon and prosciutto, this is also great to go on your bruschetta. Okay, so now as a reminder, just in case you forgot, you are going to be judged on how beautiful your bruschetta looks. So remember that when you're plating. A little drizzle of balsamic glaze, a little extra basil on there. Make it look good because you're going to have to send these in and impress the judges, okay? Let's move on to pasta. Okay, so now, fettuccine with vodka sauce. So we're gonna get all of our prep done and then head to the stove. First thing we'll do is we'll cut some onions. So we wanna do a nice slice on the onions. You're gonna peel it like this, discard, cut them in half. I do this because A, you don't wanna be chasing, because you're going to slice these, you don't want to be chasing round vegetables all over the table. So get a nice peel on that. Just turn it sideways, sharp knife. Just do some nice thin slices like that, okay? Once you start to get too close, flip it so you don't have those big pieces. If you're comfortable doing the rocking motion or what I was just doing with the slicing, that's perfect too. So we have an onion here, our half of an onion in the bowl. Next up, we're going to do some pancetta. So pancetta is a cured but not smoked Italian bacon, so to speak. So we're going to cut it into sticks. Like this. You want nice small cubes, like like that. Take it, turn it. Now you can do one slice at a time. So, and then just do some nice small cubes here. Now we have our pancetta all ready to go. Once again, we're going to scoop it up, get it into our little bowl here, and then slice a couple of pieces of garlic here. So this time we're not going to smash because we actually want slices of garlic. You can use a slicer, like a box slicer if you want to. You can get a grater. Whatever you like, but just some nice thin slices of garlic. We want to get 2 of those. And then we are ready to go to the stove, okay? In with the onions. There we go. All right, let's head to the stove, shall we? So when you're ready to start your sauce, get your pasta ready. Boiling salted water. It's going to cook for about 8 minutes. So get that ready because once your sauce is ready, you're going to be ready to put your pasta in the sauce. So let's cook. At the stove, here we go. So we're going to put our pan on top. We're going to turn our flame on here. We want to make sure our pan is really hot before we add our oil and everything. So a couple tablespoons of olive oil here. Then we're going to saute up our onions and our garlic. You want to hear that sizzle. It's like one of the 10 best sounds in the world, okay? Kind of move it around a little bit. We don't really want any color on the onions. We just want to start to bloom them, so to speak, get them nice and fragrant, sweat them, as we like to say, okay? Then we're going to add in our pancetta. Once this has been in here, about a minute or so. Get our pancetta in there. Sure, I'll show off. Why not? Because I can. All right, so we're gonna let the fat render out of the pancetta. Then we're gonna have fun. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add our vodka, and I'll show you how to flame it. It's not too high. Safety first here, so you might want to just grab like a rubber spatula or a pair of tongs or a spoon to stir that around. If you're good at flipping, flip away, man. So we're just about there. So we're going to add in our 3rd cup of vodka very carefully. Lean it. This will burn off. Take the kids away. So make sure we do that. We'll let that burn off. Then we're going to go ahead and add in a little bit of red pepper flake. Okay. And then we're going to add our tomatoes. So I've got 32 ounces, 1 quart of diced tomatoes here. I'm going to add those in. We're going to let that cook for a little bit. Stir it around. In about a minute after cooking, we're going to have you taste it. Does it need more salt? Does it need pepper? What are we missing here? You guys be the judge of it, but you're also not relegated to making a vodka sauce. You've got the ingredients to do something called an arrabbiata, which is a spicy tomato sauce for your pasta. You can do a carbonara, which is just pancetta with a little bit of egg and pasta water. You can also do an Alfredo sauce, which is cream and Parmesan cheese. Pasta, very much like pizza, like our bruschetta, is sort of a blank canvas also. You can make of it whatever you want to. You can just do a really, really simple basil pesto if you want to. They have some really great ones out there that you can pre-purchase, or you can make your own. Very simple to make, so you don't have to have the pancetta and the onions and the tomatoes. Make it your own. Make it something that you guys are going to enjoy eating, okay? All right, so our tomatoes have cooked down. Just grab some fresh basil, and all you're going to do is just tear it. So So you don't have to do the fancy chiffonade on this one. You just want to start to release the oils on this and just to flavor it. Okay? So a little stir around there, a little flip. I'm going to grab one of my trusty tasting spoons here. Not bad, not bad at all. I like it a little spicy. I'm going to add me some more red pepper flake. Okay? So then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your pasta from the water, which you dropped. When you have about 5 minutes left, drop your pasta. You're going to finish your pasta in the sauce. So what you're going to do, if you're comfortable doing this, is you're going to take your pasta right from the water and you're going to bring it to the sauce. You want to undercook your pasta by about 1 minute because you want it to finish in the sauce. And the reason for that is that when you put it in the sauce and you finish that cooking process, the pasta is going to get absorbed in the sauce. And then you'll have more flavor. So, all right. One more scoop here, and there we go. If you're not comfortable doing this, you can drain the pasta, being sure to reserve 1 cup of the pasta water. If your sauce gets too dry, you can add that in there, and the reasoning for that is that it already has the starchy goodness in there and the salt in there. So we are all stirred up here now. So the last step in finishing your sauce to make it really rich and really luxurious is to go ahead and take just a little bit of heavy cream and just kind of pour it in there, mix it up. And I would even, at this point in time, maybe just take, this is me, I like cheese, add in a little bit of your Parmesan cheese. You can top it with more later, okay? So now we have a nice, rich, creamy tomato sauce. If you want a smoother sauce, you can hold back on putting the pasta in there. Take your tomatoes, you can throw them in the food processor and chop them up for a smoother tomato sauce. If you like chunky, which I do, you can just leave them as is. So bruschetta's ready, pasta's ready. Let's move on to our chicken Milanese. So I've got flour, panko, and eggs right here. We are going to do a wet hand, dry hand process right here. So I'm going to crack our eggs right now. The important thing, doesn't matter what you're breading, whether it be chicken breast, bone-in chicken for fried chicken, you want to build those flavors. Very, very important. So we're going to take our dried oregano and we're going to do the eggs, the panko, and the flour, okay? Same thing with the parsley. All these things we're doing here. Salt, pepper. Most important is that if you don't have one of these at home, these are awesome. They're called microplanes. You're going to zest a little bit of lemon into each one, because that's really going to ramp up that lemony flavor that you're looking for the Milanese, okay? And then at the end, we're also going to squeeze fresh lemon juice down there because yum, the Italians love their lemons. Trust me on this one. If you want to, you can also throw in your panko, a little Parmesan cheese if you want to, just to give it a little bit more depth of flavor. Get everything all nice and mixed up in there. Same thing with your eggs. Okay, all nice and mixed up, good to go. Next up, we're gonna pound that chicken out. So, chicken breast right here. You can see there's a really, really thick side right here, and it tapers down right here. You're gonna pound it out with the smooth side of a mallet. If you don't have a mallet, you can use just a heavy saucepan. And then you're just going to sort of level the playing field, if you will. Just give it, you don't really have to whack it. Chicken breasts have no fat. You're not tenderizing here. So just hit it. All right, so a couple more times here. All right, so we are good to go right here. See, we have a nice even piece of chicken. The reason I'm wrapping it in plastic, by the way, is just so it doesn't, like chicken juice, doesn't fly all over the place, okay? So we have a nice even piece of chicken breast, so it cooks evenly also. Keep that in mind. We're gonna do flour, egg, panko. Then we'll transfer it over to a baking pan, bring it over to the stove, and we're going to pan fry it up in a little bit of olive oil. So, wet hand, dry hand. Take our chicken, go into the flour, then we're going to go into the egg. So this is our dry hand now, see, just dry hand. Into here, into the egg, making sure we coat it. The flour helps the egg absorb or stick to that. And then we're going to go into the panko, shake it around a little bit with your dry hand, pull up some of the crumbs, okay, lay it out there. It sounds super simple, wet hand, dry hand, but if you're really, really right-handed, you are going to be really, really inclined to go boink, 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 this way, this way. But if you do this, you have eggy hands, you're going to go into the flour, and then into the panko, and into the egg and everything else, and you're going to have hands like this. So not fun, and it gets really messy to clean up. So we are all pressed out here, all breaded up for our chicken. Let's saute. Just like we did for the pasta, get a pan, get it hot. Once you're done breading all of your chicken breasts for everyone in the family, you're going to come over to the stove. We are ready to roll here. Very gently, away from you, just gently pop it in the pan. Do not overcrowd the pan. If you need to do in batches, depending on how large your saute pans are, do not crowd the pan, because you'll take the temperature down and then you won't get a nice crisp crust on your chicken breast here. So 2 minutes on one side, flip it over, 2 minutes on the other side, bring it back to your pan right here, your paper lined pan right here. I would finish it in the oven. That's the easiest way to do it, and that way you are ensuring that the chicken is cooked all the way through. So, do a little peek here. Almost, not quite there yet. So let's flip it over. We have some nice golden brown color right there. Another 2 minutes on that. 1 to 2 minutes, depending on how hot your stove gets. Parchment lined pan in the oven, 350, about 8 minutes. This also depends on how large your chicken breasts are. These are pretty huge, so I think this is a turkey. I'm just kidding. So anyway, all right, so I think we are ready here. Nice color, both sides. Go ahead and continue on with your other ones. Pull it out. Careful not to pull off your crust. And then just bring it over to the oven. Bake it, once again, 8 minutes or until it's cooked fully through. And then we'll go ahead and we'll make our salad. Okay, so we're almost there. We're closing in on the finish line. Last thing you guys are going to make, very important, because you don't want to dress your salads too early. Otherwise, you'll have soggy salads. So, beautiful baby arugula right here. Olive oil, balsamic vinegar, salt and pepper. Super simple. The reason that you're doing it this way is that you're going to put it on top of the chicken, and you want that to be a complete bite. You want the peppery of the arugula with a little bit of the tartness of the balsamic, and then the lemony, crunchy chicken. That whole bite right there, that is your winning combination right there. So we're going to throw in 1/4 cup of olive oil, our balsamic vinegar, okay, touch of pepper, not too much because arugula is pretty peppery on its own, and salt. You can always adjust. And we're just going to lightly toss this. That's it. Give it a taste. Make sure you have enough dressing. If you're not a fan of arugula, you can just do this as a nice side salad. You can do a little romaine if you want to, but I would keep the flavors the same. Balsamic, olive oil, maybe a little bit of Dijon mustard for a simple vinaigrette. Totally up to you guys. But this right here, that bite with the chicken, I guarantee you this is going to be your go-to anytime you want to cook Italian. So let's plate so you can win the contest. Remember, it's all how it looks. People eat with their eyes. I cannot stress that enough. So we're going to do it 2 ways. So you can just take your pasta, plain old bowl, and just plop it in there like that, you know, throw a couple tomatoes on top. That's boring. So I find the best thing to do is to take a carving fork, pick some up, twirl it around. That way you get that fancy chef twirl right there, okay? Okay. Bring it to your bowl. Give it that really nice twirl right there, okay? Very important. Now we're gonna grab out some of our pretty tomatoes here. Keeping it nice and centered like that. A couple of more, just for good measure. Okay. Nice little piece of basil here, sticking out on the side if you want. A little sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. Make sure the edge of your plates are all nice and clean. Towel, fingers, it's okay. There you go. Now you have some pretty plated pasta. Doesn't it look delicious? Don't you just want to eat that? Don't you just want to grab a glass of wine and just dig in? Okay, next up, let's do the chicken, okay? Here we are, beautiful chicken breast, nice golden brown, crispy. So, your beautiful plate right here. So you can do this one of two ways. You can put arugula on top or arugula on the bottom. I like it on top because then it lets the arugula just wilt. Little off-centered there. Let me get this out of the way here. Grab our beautifully dressed salad right here. The one thing I did forget, when it comes out of the oven, definitely want to squeeze some fresh lemon juice on there. That way you'll ramp up that lemon flavor. So, get a nice little bundle of arugula right here on top. Let it kind of cascade off there, if you will. Okay? We can do the same thing we did before. Little balsamic glaze, make it nice and fancy here. If you want. Maybe a couple of nice little slices of lemon to let people know there is lemon in this dish. And there you have it, your beautiful, inviting Italian winning plates. Okay, once again, thank you so much. Enjoy your dinner, have fun with this, and buon appetito.